Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, from Morristown, New Jersey, and the U.S. Men's National Team Training Camp. Today, we're joined by defender Tim Ream and forward Josh Sargent. For those of you here in New Jersey, training today at 3 p.m., open for the first 15 minutes. As always, if you'd like to get in a queue to ask a question, you can do so by virtue of raising your hand. And we'll begin with Paul Tenorio from The Athletic.
Thanks, Michael. Thanks, guys. Josh, this one's for you. I wonder if you could talk through just the emotions, the feelings of getting through this transfer window, the decision not to move to Germany, and how maybe it motivated you for the start of the season because you've been in such great form to start things off with Norwich. Thank you.
Yeah, there are quite a few things going on. A lot of decisions had to be made, not just for myself, but for my family. Overall, I think I'm in a good spot at Norwich. I'm at a place where I know I can score goals, which of course is important, going into the World Cup. And yeah, I've had a good start to the season, so hopefully I can continue that form all throughout the season and keep scoring goals.
Next will be Jonathan Chanawal from the Philadelphia Inquirer.
Thank you, Michael. Josh, another one for you. There's no need to pound away about how long it's been since you scored last for the national team, but it is over so much of the conversation. And I just wonder for you as the player, is it in your mind when you're called in when you're playing for the national team, or is it not in your mind, or how do you manage the mental side of that?
Yeah, I'd probably be lying, if I said I didn't think about it. Of course, I know it's been a while. I'm doing so well at the club level at the moment. I just, keep reminding myself how well I'm doing there. I know I can score goals, and I know it's a matter of time that I'm going to score for national team. So just going to put my head down and keep working hard, and, I know the goals will come.
Next will be Henry Bushnell.
Thanks, Michael. Josh, sorry to bombard you, but another question for you. Back in May, when you were left off the Gold Cup roster, I'm just wondering how you interpreted that, whether there were conversations with the coaches about it, and just your outlook on the forward striker competition going forward.
Yeah, there's good competition, of course. I got the email that I wasn't going into camp. Didn't really hear any word from, the coaching staff, but at the same time, I know, they don't have to call me. I understand, and kind of just took it as, rest up during the off season and kind of hit the ground running with Norwich to make sure that I'm back into the next camp. And I think I've done a very good job of that at the club level, and I think that's why I'm here. And again, hopefully I can keep performing and do that here as well.
Next will be Doug McIntyre from Fox.
Thanks, Michael. Hey, guys. Tim, I'll go to you. But I am going to ask you about Josh. I know it's a little weird with him sitting next to you. But yeah, just piggybacking on the, Josh's goal drought. He can score goals. You guys know he can score goals. I'm sure it's, you internally look at it as, just kind of a fluky thing. How do you look at it? I mean, this guy can score goals, at the international level. How confident are you guys in his ability?
I mean, I don't think anybody really worries about it, to be completely honest with you. I've known that the guy can score goals since he was 15, 16 years old, and following, his path in his career so far. And yeah, it's not something that we're worried about. You look at what he's doing, at Norwich and at club, and the types of goals that he's scoring they're all different. So full confidence in him, and it's just like you said, it's a matter of putting his head down and continuing to work and doing the things that he's good at, and the goals will definitely come.
Next will be Jeff Carlisle from ESPN FC.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Question for you, Tim. At the end of the Gold Cup, you mentioned how the team had a much better idea of what the coaching staff was demanding of you guys and what their expectations were. Obviously, a lot of new faces in this camp. Have there been discussions with your teammates about what they expect and or what the coaching staff expects, and has the coaching staff talked to them as well?
Yeah, there hasn't been any major discussions. I know that the coaches have been pulling guys in individually, having little conversations here and there. But in terms of as a total group, we've only just now got everybody into camp as of late last night. So we'll sit down, I'm sure, today and have a discussion. But for us, it's just the guys who were here during the Gold Cup, as you said, we kind of know what the standard needs to be and what it is going forward, and just making sure that everybody's being held accountable, pushing each other, helping each other, and making sure that we all know that we're on the same page, we're on the same team, we're trying to move things forward and make sure that we're in a good position, moving forward into the next year and into the World Cup. And that's down to obviously the coaching staff communicating as they always do, and us as players translating that message as peers, to make sure that everybody's pulling in the right direction.
As Tim mentioned, the last of the team arrived last night, Tim Weah and Luca De La Torre late in the evening. So the first team meeting will be in approximately 24 minutes. We'll continue with Ron Blum from the Associated Press.
Thanks, guys, for doing this. Josh, for you, was the reports of interest by Wolfsburg and Sunderland accurate? And then looking at your overall arc, what has been the key to letting the ankle heal and just finally having a 10, 11-month healthy run following the groin surgery?
Yeah, first of all, there were interests from, multiple clubs. Obviously, in the end, didn't work out, but that's football sometimes. But yeah, injury-wise, been feeling good for a while now. I think Norwich has done a good job of taking care of me and getting me back to a good spot. Obviously, continue to do, certain exercises in the gym to keep myself healthy, but yeah, I'm feeling really good right now.
Next will be Charlie Bone from MLSsoccer.com.
Thanks for your time today, guys. Putch made a few headlines, I guess, or turned heads last when he announced the roster about his evaluation of MLS versus the European leagues, and there's more guys than there's been from the domestic league in some time. So I wanted to ask you two about that, whether that's something maybe we just talk about too much, or if you're seeing that there's maybe more competition from the domestic player pool than in past years.
I think it's just competition in general. Again, it's one of those things where we don't really look at the roster and say, oh, there's this many guys in from this league, or there's this many guys in from Europe. To us, it's competition. It doesn't matter. You have to go out there and earn your place and earn your spot. And it's one of those things where he's giving guys opportunities to impress. Making sure that he can get eyes on everybody who they've been watching from afar, and that sends a little bit of a message that places are open, and I think that's only a good thing. It's a good thing. Competition can drive you and push you, and it prepares you and hardens you for the coming months. So. None of us are really looking at it. I think it's talked about, a lot, but it's not discussed in any way amongst ourselves.
Next is Sanjay Sujan-Thakumar.
Thanks, Michael, and thanks, guys, for doing this. Tim, this one's for you. As Charlie mentioned, there's some new faces in this camp, and Maurizio said this will be the last camp where he's evaluating those new faces. That said, it's the first time playing in this area in a long time, which you know well. It's the biggest metro area in the country, and with the World Cup on the horizon, the expectations are really building, right? So do you feel there's any extra pressure to put in a good performance Saturday against a quality opponent and show some progress? And then Josh, real quick, could you clarify, was there communication from the staff between the Gold Cup and this camp? Did you have an idea that you'd be coming back ahead of this camp? Thank you.
No, there was no communication until I got the email that I was going to be called into camp.
Yeah, on your question about pressure, I don't think there's any more pressure than normal. I think every game is and should be a pressure situation. As I said before, it's about competing, it's about competition, it's about earning your spot, and trying to make sure that you're doing everything you can to take advantage of opportunities. And this is just another one of those. There people will say, "Oh, it's a friendly," but now with the amount of time between now and the World Cup, there's no such thing as friendly games. You have to be on it every single training session, every single game, and the pressure is there. The pressure is there on everybody to try to make the World Cup squad, and this is an opportunity for everybody who's here to perform and to do that.
Just a point of information, people have talked about new faces. There's 4 players on the roster in search of their first cap. Tristan Blackman, Roman Celentano, Jonathan Klisman, all who have been in previous national team camps, first time under Pochettino, and Noah Kaya-Banks. Next question comes from Leander Sherlockins.
Hey, Tim, can you hear me?
Yep.
Michael Bradley's being honored on Saturday. What was it like playing with him, and what was it like being in camp with him?
Yeah. To be honest, sitting here now, I came into this program and he was very much established already. And getting to know him, watching him kind of work and operate, and the professionalism that he showed every single training session, every camp. Listening to the way that he speaks about the game, watching the way he approached the game, watching his approach to preparing himself, all things that a lot of guys were able to take from him. I don't know that I've ever really given him credit, but I'm sitting here today because of some of the things and some of the conversations that him and I have had over many camps and over many years. So shared a lot of great memories, a lot of great camps, and just watching him and knowing how professional he was, and the leadership that he showed from all the time that we were together, is something that I always left camp in awe of, and really tried to use that whenever I would leave, and now still trying to use those examples today.
What were those conversations about?
Lots of different things. Life, football, the national team, different players, different leagues, Europe, MLS. I mean, we touched on it all. We had so many times together, that there's just so many different things that we would discuss on a daily basis.
We'll go to Donald Wine.
Thank you, Michael. Hey, gentlemen. Tim, this is for you, following up on an earlier question. A few years ago, you were in this position of a guy who had just gotten back on the national team. You fought and you were able to become a starter in the World Cup. As this process restarts and we have more guys fighting, what advice have you shared with guys in camp, maybe guys who haven't been in camp, about your journey and how they navigate this point of the process?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing I've tried to help guys with is that every time you're in, and even when you're not in there, it's an opportunity, to put yourself in a position to be here and in a position to make a team, and to make the World Cup team. You just never know. There's so many things that happen in this sport and in your career, and opportunities happen, doors open, and all of a sudden you have to step through and make sure you take advantage of that. So just making sure that guys, the advice is to make sure that you treat every session as if it's the most important. Make sure you treat every game as if it's the most important, because it can honestly be the difference of you making the World Cup squad, or starting every single game and playing every minute. You just don't know, and there's no there's no way you can take plays off and days off and training sessions off. Every touch, every pass, every decision matters. And that's something that I continue to try to drive home with everybody who's in camp, whether they've, been here and played, 30 to 40 to 70 times or someone who's looking to make their first appearance.
For last question, we'll go back to Jonathan Tannenwald.
Thanks, Michael. I wanted to ask a follow-up to Josh. For those of us who watch games from the outside, whether at the press box or at home on TV or whatever, you're the one playing in them, and I'm wondering what differences are there, maybe tactically or whatever there may be, between a national team game against a CONCACAF opponent in particular versus an English league game? Are they different styles of soccer? Are they different styles of games for you, do you think?
I think it's a tough question just because even in the league, there's so many different ways that the teams play. Some sit in and just want to counter and go long. Some want to actually play on the ball, and it's the same on the international level, Obviously, there's different personnel. There's a few different tactics with what the coaches want, but overall, I think there's a lot of similarities, wherever you play in football, and yeah.
Well, thanks to Tim and Josh and all of you for joining today. For those in New Jersey, we'll see you this afternoon. For everyone else, we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks again for joining, and have a good afternoon.